Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So let us talk about Mars in the second house from the Ascendant today. Usually, when Mars is in the second, fourth, eighth, seventh, and 12th, Dvidvadasha Chatussaptashtama, it is said that Mars gives rise to a problem called as the Manglik Dosh, Dosh, Kuja Dosh, whatever you call it. Now, this particular terminology of Kuja Dosha or Manglik has not been referred or cited anywhere in the classics. So that doesn't mean that it is not there, because hundreds of astrologers after the classics were written have done a lot of research on this, and they have come up to some conclusion that yes, this dosha exists. But people, it is something like a teacher teaches something, there is something else in the text already, the teacher interprets it in some way, and she teaches something, and it goes to the students, and the students interpret it in a different way, and finally the receiver will not have the real story. See, the problem is this, that the communication gap is too big from the seers. Those are those people who have really done the research and have thousands of years. Communication keeps deteriorating, changes shapes, and the history itself gets changed because of so many years of handling. Okay, so the point is, what I'm trying to tell you here is that have we really understood what Kuja Dosha is? Itself is a huge topic which takes hours together to explain. But here I would want to explain the second house, because second house is also one of the houses which has been included in the Kuja Dosha concept. So what is the second house, and what actually happens when Kuja is placed in the second house is of a lot of importance. The second house is the house of walk. Walk is not communication, but it is the voice, it's the tone, it's the way we speak to people. The same sentence, a single sentence can be humbly uttered, and the same sentence can be uttered in a very sarcastic, in a very critical way, and both have absolutely abstract meanings. The meaning which actually comes out of that sentence is not at all relative. They are very far away from each other. So the point is, if for example, if somebody sarcastically tells, thank you, I know, thank you. So, or somebody sarcastically tells, sorry, I mean sorry. He really does not mean that he is sorry, but he is telling that only because of an obligation. So this difference can clearly be observed in the charts or in the people who have second house Mars, because they are very opinionated, they are frank, blunt, outspoken. So frank, blunt, outspoken. Who wants such a girl to be married to? Nobody wants to. And this is why the Kujadosha concept or the Manglik concept became huge in the earlier years. Nowadays, people want to get married to a girl who is frank and she can tell her opinions in a very clear way, and she is outspoken. Because if you don't have a person who is like this, then that person will not be able to survive in the outer world, which is today, which is the requirement, that the girls have to study well, go out, earn their living and stand on their feet, because men cannot earn all the money what is required for the family, because the expenses have increased in an arithmetic progression. It's more than that. The expenses have just skyrocketed. So because of these huge expenses, the man of the family, the boy or the bridegroom, wishes to marry a girl who can go out and work. She has to be bold, she has to be well qualified, she has to defend herself in this harsh society, of competition and she should be competitive herself. So, if there is a Kuja Dosha, then let it be. Let it be. I am of an opinion, personal opinion, this is that women with second house Mars can do better than men with second house Mars. Because men with second house Mars will simply fight and leave the job and go away. Women with second house Mars know that they can assert their opinion and they can assert their presence in the company and unnecessarily do not get subjugated or get into problems of harassment. They will open their voice and they will opine their opinion. So what I am trying to tell you here is Kuja Dosha should be kept aside for a while in this particular Kali Yuga. Women and men with regard to their Vaksthana, only with regard to the Vaksthana, I am only talking about the second house here, please. So do not take the Kuja Dosha to be a blanket approval that every Kuja Dosha is fine. No. Kuja Dosha is there in certain places of the 7th and the 8th. I will talk about it later when I come to those classes. But here the Kuja Dosha is from the Ascendant. So the voice will be very strong, bold and assertive. So sometimes if it is afflicted, that is if Rahu is placed along with Mars or Saturn is placed along with Mars or a retrograde Mercury is placed along with Mars, then there might be a point of time when these people might suddenly become rude. They can become harsh, sometimes critical, sarcastic. That is also because of the Mercury which is retro. So many planets might give many variations when they are placed along with Mars. Mars as such is a very direct focused planet. It does not observe what is happening on its right or left. It is like the horse with the what they call that, the focus plate or whatever they put a plate to the horse so that it doesn't get distracted. So it's like that. Mars simply runs ahead. It does not want politics, it does not want gossip. People do not want to unnecessarily get involved in stupid nonsense talk. So Mars in the second house means point to point. Finish this, thank you very much. So they talk like that and finish it and simply go ahead with their job. They are job oriented people. People with Mars in the second house, they are very good in their job. They have an industrial inclination, they are business oriented people, but we need to check the 7th house, the 10th house and many other planetary positions to say whether they will be able to make profit or loss. Because here the second house Mars is that they jump into some conclusions of investments and there they are hit if they go through losses. They can't take losses because this is Dhanasthana, this is the second house where wealth is earned, and when Mars is in the second house, people get attached to their possessions. They get attached to their wealth or possessions, whatever they have earned, and hence it looks like as though they are stingy and miserly in attitude, but they are not. They spend very well, but they are still attached to their pride of possessions of wealth. So, with a fast moving planet, Mars in the second house would give, stuttering and fumbling speech. They continue to speak very fast and they are not very clear in their words, and the vocabulary will get mixed up with some other sounds, and then their speech is not recognized as to be clear speech. On the contrary, if it is associated with, let us say, Saturn, then there is a possibility of stammering. People can't put their thoughts into words, and before that they speak, and then the disconnect of the movement of the the vocabulary, fluent speech comes only when they are all linked together. So Mars alone in the second house is a fantastic position, along with Chandra will give very good speech, but once again a little bit fast, because Chandra is also considered, Moon is also considered to be a fast moving planet. They inherit wealth because Mars from the second aspects the 8th and the 9th houses. They inherit good wealth from their predecessors, that particularly their fathers, paternal wealth. So With Jupiter in the second house, Mars becomes extremely beautiful combination it gives rise to. It's a fantastic combination for eloquent speech, judgmental. They are very good in judging. So, not in the negative way of being judgmental. They are very good judges and they can be very good advocates. So, Jupiter Mars combination in the second house can give rise to eloquent speech, shastras, very highly learned people, because Mars aspects the fourth and the fifth house. That is, from the second, it will be the fifth and the sixth. And Mars aspects the fourth house, which is the fifth house from the Lagna, and Jupiter aspects the fifth house, which is the sixth house from the Lagna. And this combined effect of Mars, Jupiter aspecting the fifth and the sixth from the Ascendant, fantastic combination for competitiveness and speech. Okay. So there is one thing which is difficult for these people because they don't plan ahead much in their investments. So they simply run through it, and sometimes because of this short-sightedness, they suddenly fall into losses. And this is also because of their motivation to suddenly gain wealth. Like lottery, gambling, they would want to simply run into and make sudden money. I'll not call that like as I said in Mars in the Ascendant that they would want to make easy money. It's not like that. Here they would want to work hard also, but they want money in an excess quantity in a short period. So that the difficulty is there, which is seen in this particular position. On an overall, if I see, this is not such a great position because it is not that good for joint families and socialization, because frank opinions nobody like today's in today's world. And anyway, if people tells that if people with this combination are asked, they will tell who cares for this world, we are as what we are and we don't want to change and we will never change. So Mars is a very stubborn planet. When it is in the second house, they don't change. So thank you very much for today's class.